everyone, how's it going? My name is Henry and welcome to another video about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which we're all excited for, but I just want to go through a few things with you today, and that is things I want to see in the new sim coming out, because again, we've had Flight Sim 2020 for a few years now, and we all have awesome opinions. We all have things we love about it, things that we don't like about it. And I just want to take my experience from previous generations of Flight Sim. I started back, I think my first one was Flight Sim 2004. I got to do a video on the channel one day with it. And today we're just going to take a look at what I'm looking forward to having in the new sim. So the first thing I want back in Flight Sim 2024 that we were missing in 2020 was basic functions that were included in previous titles. So this includes intuitive slew mode without having to go into dev mode, easier aircraft swapping, things like that. Here, let's jump back into Flight Simulator X here, and I'll show you what I mean. So here we are in a Payware DA40 back in good old Flight Sim X, and you can see we're in Toronto, and that's the most important thing, is looking at the CN Tower. While sure, it's the older graphics and whatnot, these are the stock graphics, they don't have anything crazy. It looks like the CN Tower. If you look at the new, at least for me anyways, on my graphical settings, it's still morphed after all these Canada updates and everything else. I don't have to go into any special dev mode or debug mode to do slew mode. I can literally just press Y. And look at this, I can move the plane around using the control stick. I can change the altitude, lower, go whatever. Look how easy this is. I could go over here with a sky dome and do whatever the heck I want. You actually get all of your tools here that you can use in the sim. You don't have to back out of the actual game itself. You can actually select your aircraft while flying. And let's say all of a sudden I want to fly a 37. All I have to do is press OK. And you get switched. You don't have to do another dev mode or anything. All of a sudden I'm flying a 737, not fast enough. Another thing that we do know is coming back to the wonderful franchise are missions. And this is what really was missing in Flight Sim 2020 right here. Again, if you're really new to the entire franchise and you don't really know about what all this is, Flight Sim used to have missions all the time, like included in both the expansion and the base game. So again, we all used to have fun with these, especially the Red Bull races. I always loved the F-18 missions. I've done a few on my channel before. You can go look that out, especially the F-18 missions. The carrier landing at night was fun. But yeah, the cool thing about this though is that this was high altitude intercept was always a really fun one too. Same with the other Area 51 stuff. But the cool thing is with this is that like the briefings and whatnot were actually really well done. Like they actually have like Jepson charts and they had like a nice walkthrough. They had details, you had checklists, they gave you map and charts, and like this is what's kind of missing. Like as well as like the good voice acting and like the mission interface as well. Cause like they actually had UI, like UI compass, things like that they don't really have in the new sim. The other basic function is multiplayer, right? So multiplayer rooms and servers. That's the cool thing, is that you can actually have like actual server rooms or just local area network, because again, it would be kind of cool. Like you have all your friends, you have like different, wow, there's not a lot of servers left. But yeah, you can actually make a server, have a Discord in your description, and you can actually play as ATC. So if you wanted to, you could actually go in and you could have there's still videos about this. There's still events that happen in these servers, but you could actually have somebody have Tower playing as Tower with like their screens and stuff, and then actually have everyone else fly around. So that honestly, that was really fun to be able to do. Another thing that I really want them to have done in the new Flight Sim is no advertising in the game. Here's what I mean. Like, I fully support the marketplace. I've bought stuff off there. I love it. It's cool. They do a great job. But every time I want to go flying, let's say Brampton, and I choose departure, I always get this ad where they're trying to sell the airport. So, like, you can buy the new shiny one for $15 Canadian. I want to be able to turn that off, but there's no buttons to turn that advertising off. And like, especially if you have kids playing your game, like what if they actually press the button and stuff? Like, there's no parental controls or stuff. You can turn that off. And I hate that. Get rid of this, Microsoft and Asobo, please. It's just showing like the failures, comparing the failure system from Flight Sim X to this. You can see that there's a lot less things to fail now. There's only like, maybe like 1, 2, 3. There's like less than 10 things you can fail. The cylinders, awesome, the mags, and that's about it. Like there's a lot more things that can go wrong, like engine. Do they even have like, oh, they do have a fire, that's cool. But like, I don't know, let's go choose something a little bit more complicated. Another thing is like, for custom departures, like I wish, this is another wish list thing where you can choose anywhere to depart, but you can't really change your altitude. Like it just default 5,000. I don't know how to do like anything else. Like it doesn't let you, so that'd be kind of cool thing to get. The next thing I want to see in Flight Sim 2024 compared to 2020 and the previous versions is better optimization and better file management systems when it comes to the actual sim itself, both in the background as well as simple things like the user interface. Literally every time you start Flight Sim 2020, it checks for an update, and it takes a while. I wish it was kind of the older style where you just opens to the main menu as normal, like Flight Sim X, and if there was an update, then you could choose to install it. Now for this next section, I'm gonna have the real-time loading screen on in the background here. You can see how long it takes in real life for me to open Flight Sim. And that leads into the actual file system itself and the way that they update the game, in the sense that very often you get mandatory updates that you have to install to open Flight Sim at all. And that's a major issue, especially if you have poor internet, because if you have gigabit internet, it's not an issue. But when it first came out, there was major issues in the sense that there were game-breaking crashes that actually forced you to reinstall the game, or sometimes, heck, even Windows 10, that happened to me twice. But if you have to reinstall everything, that's over 100 gigabytes you have to re-download. And if you don't have gigabit internet, like I don't here in Canada, it's kind of more of a rarity. You're in for a long time of trying to get back into the sim. So that's a major issue. I hope that they have a way of kind of just going right into the sim and checking for updates then. It'll make it a lot more accessible and a lot less annoying every time you open Flight Sim, it checking for the updates. And sometimes if Xbox, the connection between Xbox Live and the game itself was broken, it wouldn't let you online, and there's this whole other thing. So in short form, I hope that they really do come up with a better file system and a way of addressing updates and things like that. Because again, as you can see, like, it shouldn't take this long to open up the main menu of the sim. And I'm just gonna end it here because it does go on for a little bit longer, but part of it's on me. I only have a GTX 1060, but still, like, it shouldn't take this long to just boot up a sim, right? So I hope they really address the file system and the back-end issues in the new simulator. Alright, last but not least, this is more an opinion piece and actually asking you guys, the community, what you would think of this. And that is actually a new kind of model for releasing Flight Sim, in the sense that there's different monetization models that different simulators use, and a good example of this is DCS, so Digital Combat Sim. In the sense that with Flight Sim, they're going with the kind of AAA model where they release a new Flight Sim every 4 years, so 2020, 2024, 2028, etc. That is where they're saying that the aircraft and whatnot that you buy in the marketplace can transfer to the new game, but what if they relied on a different model like DCS? Because if you don't know, DCS, it's more of an open, it's kind of hard to explain. It's more of an open concept in the idea that it goes more towards a service title, in the sense that the world itself, you can actually get DCS for free, but you pay for what you want. So it comes with the Frogfoot ground support aircraft for free, but if you want other aircraft, you just buy what you want. But the cool thing is that the sim itself, every year they update it. You don't have to buy it over again. They just keep on updating the actual behind the scenes. They add new weather effects, things like that. Would this be a good model for Flight Sim? In the sense that it's forever an evolution. It's not just like a cookie cutter re-release. They just keep on adding onto it, and it's a single game. They just keep on updating the graphics, updating the engine. But with this, the aircraft and everything else will become more expensive because this is more their only means of making money now, right? The nice thing with the current model is that the devs know they're probably going to sell X amount of units, so they have a good budget going into the next sim. I'm just curious to what the community thinks about this. Like, do you think the DCS model would work for Flight Sim? Or do you think the Flight Sim model AAA game where it's like coming out every 4 years, do you think that's a better idea of what we're working at now? Because again, like I'm just curious to think what the community thinks of, because I think it's an interesting idea. DCS has improved majorly over the years, and they keep on coming out with new advanced aircraft, and the amount of detail is crazy. But with that being said, you're paying like $80 to $100 per aircraft, right? So, and again, it's a combat sim, so obviously different than flying an airliner. But I don't know, that's my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you think it would work, or do you think this is just more of a DCS only and it wouldn't work for Flight Sim, or would it make things worse? Let me know down in the comments, because this is kind of the end of the video as I was planning for it. And now I want to hear from you guys. What do you all want to hear and see and view in the new Flight Sim? Are there any cool ideas that you want to see, anything that you want gone? Let us know in the comment below. I'm just curious to see what the community wants and doesn't want. Thanks again for watching, everyone. As always, fly safe and happy landings.